Okay, James in Georgia, here's your new Washington. This is the one you're going to get right here. So, I already sent your microphone request into President on Friday, so I'll probably hear back on that tomorrow. There's your Mars mod right there. And no fans with this one, that's okay. They do have, like I said, sometimes this plastic that's over this film, it gets scratched, so it's not going to be through to the actual face of the radio, so just be aware of that. There's some scuff marks and stuff there, so they don't really impress me with how they, I mean, it's nice that they put that on there, but I guess for somebody that wants to leave it on for long term, maybe they could try not to mark it all up and stuff, but it's just me being me, I guess. So you can always peel that off. What I would recommend is starting in one of the corners, like over here, and then it's just going to fully like come around the buttons and everything, and it just comes off in one, basically in one piece. It'll just keep sliding off, or if you start on the side, either way. So it's up to you. It doesn't bother me so much that there's marks on it, because when the radio's lit up, you're not going to see it anyways. The one that I was using in my car, I let my friend Grease Monkey use it, the George, and talk on it for a little bit, and he's having fun with it. He hasn't tried one of the Georges before. I peeled it off, that one, just because it was one that I took in on a trade, and it wasn't terrible or anything, but I don't really care at that point. I was keeping the radio, so I mean, if something were to bump the screen or something, so be it. But I mean, unless you're really clumsy in a vehicle or even in a home setup, you're probably never gonna like damage the front of the radio. So sometimes it's clearer to not have that display on the protector. I mean, it's much clearer to look at. Okay, so I'm just going to show you if you ever accidentally reset the menu. Oops, I got to turn this power supply on. Here we go. If you ever reset the menu, you'll go back to just 10 and 12 only. So I'll show you the process. It's really easy to get it back, and this is what I have to do anyway. So I'm just going to go through here and get rid of that. Put this to SWR. Put this to temperature. That's fine there. And I'll let you decide if you want span on. I run it on this radio, but it's up to you. Fahrenheit. And password. I think it's 12345. And then it should blink. Yep. Now it comes back with all the bands, so you can go A, B. That's a B actually. C, D. Where is it? H, I, J, K, I, L. L is 12 meter. So they're a little unorthodox how they're set up, but I mean, you can obviously use the span, and it makes a lot more sense than with the span option on. So I'm just going to get this set up for you really quick, and we'll get this one heading your way tomorrow, just like I said. They sound really good, even from the factory. The audio is good on them. It's just a factory electret condenser. And then this radio, this Galaxy, I'm going out to an IMAX 2000. I keep wanting to say Antron, but it's not. It's an IMAX optimizer. Max optimizer, I guess, is the word that they call it now. And it's only 5 feet off the ground, and it's out in my backyard. So, we're not picking up that much. I got the incoming from everything else kind of squelched out. They have a really nice sound. They're not all bassy and like, how's my radio sound, like that, Like sometimes you hear people out there and they sound horrible, like, hey, breaker, check radio, check, hello radio. They don't sound like that. They sound nice and clear. Now again, I'm not really eating the mic, but it has a really nice punchy sound. So that is that. That radio doesn't have FM, so we can't. we can't do much with FM on it, but let's see what sideband sounds like. This thing's a little flaky, so apologize for that, but 1, 2. There we go. It's up too loud, I know, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, check, check. So it's up way too loud. It's not really ideal setup to do this, but test 1, 2, test 1, 2, hello radio, test 1, 2. So I mean, they sound good. So just like a lot of the other radios on the market, they sound good because, as we all know, the factory where these are made, it's a lot of other popular makes and models are also made there. So you're getting some quality audio that really is just second to none versus, you know, a lot of the other brands that are on the market. The audio on these are really good. So same on the George, just a little less power is all. So I'm gonna get this stuff all turned on and ready to go, and I'll get the alignment done. Alright, so we're in our service portion here. It's got the FM power up to about 50. That's about the right setting for it. It's pretty much on frequency there, just very, very minor inconsistency there, but you know, if they gave me the ability to adjust that, I would, but unfortunately I can't do that. So, but it's not anything to worry about. What is this? This is going to be about 10. So I can go 9.83. I'll do 10.21 for that one. You got a top, mid. I'm sorry, a top, a high, a mid, and a low. So you got a few more settings on these because you have that power limitation feature on these. So I've talked about that before. So you said you wanted TX mod to about 2 kilohertz. So I can do that, I think. It's not a problem. So let me set that up for you. We talked about that, and that's what you wanted, so I'm assuming that's what I can do. It's actually going to be about 2.1, but it's close enough to 2, because I don't want it to go under 2, because, you know, let me go span 20 kilohertz again here, and then go here, modulation, FM, send the tone in. So right now it's at 2.95, I think, is what that's saying. Yeah, 2.95. So we'll turn it down for you. No, this is set that to about 2.16. So let me auto scale that. There we go. I'm gonna leave it at 3. So it's gonna be 3 on the top and bottom, 3 kilohertz. So now we're gonna go in and lower it down. There we go. To 2.1. I wish this had settings. If I was behind some of the development of this radio, I would have definitely pushed for an adjustable setting for 2 and 4. But there you have it, there's 2.1, so that'll work out good for you. Unfortunately, that's above my pay grade. They don't ask me anything on input. So I'm going to lower the high power on AM down to about 16, which is close enough there. And then these are for your power limitations. The next one will be 8. This is probably going to be I'll set that one about there, actually. Something you may or may not want to use, the power limitation feature. I'm not going to go into the whole spiel about how it works and stuff anymore, but it's there if you want to take advantage of it or, you know, use it. I recommend getting a good quality power meter for this radio if you're going to want to measure power. Something with a real peak circuit, and you guys be surprised how often that stuff comes up on social media, especially mostly on Facebook. There's a big misunderstanding out there about power meters and stuff, and what's good and what's not good, and what you should use and what you shouldn't use. And I think a lot of people just, unfortunately, go with what's popular, and sometimes what's popular doesn't always mean that it's the right thing to go with. So this is AM mod. It's sitting at about 77%, so that's obviously low. Let's come back to that in a second. Here, let me get my scope set up. Be right back. Alright, so there's the low. Trying to see how it looks, so I'm going to make the changes. It's good there. So now it's looking much better. That's all there is to it. It's really easy. This is going to be medium. There's no like big like, oh my god, you know, this guy, he's the best or anything. It's just like you do it right. Whoop. You do it right and it works. So this one is the middle power range for modulation. So once we get up there a little bit, the trigger will start to move again. So that's good. That's real good. So it's not real exciting stuff here, I know, but this is all part of it. It's all part of it. I feel the board's getting a little hot because I ain't got the cover on it, but it'll be alright. Alright. So this one is medium power, or this is high power. And the next one will be top. So turn this one up a little bit. Okay, trigger. Looks nice. And zoom it up and take a look. Looks nice in the middle too, so one more to go, I think. Top. Just gonna lower that down, run this trigger in here, say run, whoop. Plug this in, key it up. So 94% right now. Right on the edge of 95, 96. It's really nice there too. So all in all, it's looking good, just like they always do. Yep, nice and uniform. Let's get out of this, come here and take a quick peek there. That's how it looks on the tone on the highest power setting. The radio is doing about double the carrier on RMS and about 55 on peak with the tone, so it's pretty good. It's nice and clean. So we're moving on here. I'll do the sideband next and then I'll come back and show that. Here's the sideband. Looks really nice. Oops, what happened? There we go, I triggered off of it too much. There you go, so that looks really good. Sorry about that D104 getting in the way, but it's just kind of sitting there. So pulled out an old D104 I had for this Galaxy and it works pretty good. So obviously you got to keep the volume down, way down on the base of that thing, or else everybody hears everything in the room. So nice and clean on the output. This is with the tones matched. So everything looks good. If we were to move this like this, then the tones aren't matched. It doesn't make a big difference, but that's how it looks. So I'm going to actually adjust it just a little bit more because it was like 23 and I want 24. And there's your 24, right around 24 there. So that's good. Just a little bit better. That's how it's looking. So not too shabby at all. Nice and clean. Alright, let's take a look at the power output of this. See how hot it's getting. Yeah, she's pretty warm. Sitting at about 141, and that's with the cover off. So you can always get fans later and put them on yourself if you want to. That's up to you. You just take the bottom cover off and plug them in. You can see where they go. Hot goes to hot, ground goes to ground. And then you just screw them into the back and they're good to go. Alright, here's the radio. Now keep in mind it's really hot, so with any of these kind of radios, when it's hot, the MOSFETs are not going to give you the most gain that they can possibly do. But this is kind of like a realistic, if you were sitting here talking for, like, let's say an hour or more, just back and forth, you know. Sometimes it's fun to do that. I've been doing that a lot myself lately, just kind of talking locally too. This is kind of what the radio will do power-wise, so it's not doing too bad, you know. It's rated at 80 watts, and you know, when the thing is really hot and heavy, it still does just about that. So here's how it looks on the spectrum analyzer. This is 20 kilohertz, so it looks really nice and respectable there. You're not going to waste a lot of power into the adjacents or anything. It's nice and clean, just the way it should be, you know. And it's actually a little bit cleaner than the factory anyways, which the factory isn't terrible, but you know, I always say that I can clean it up just a little bit more, make it a little more respectable on the air, and that's really all I try to do. I'm not trying to razzle and dazzle people with all these fancy power numbers and stuff that are not realistic. So the main thing is just get a realistic expectation on your power meter, and if you can get yourself something like that, then you're already ahead of the game, because then you're not gonna be one of those type of guys that says, well, I bought the radio and everybody says they're getting 80 or 100 or whatever, the 60 if it's one of the other ones or something, and I'm only seeing 20 and stuff. And but the thing about it is my other radios, they say my other radios always show the power, and then you have to go through the explanation with them that the distortion is where the power is showing up on those meters, and it's not real power. It's the distortion of the signal, which is pushing the meter over to show stuff that's not really there. And it's just, you know, it's an experience for somebody to learn, but at the same time, you'd be surprised at how many guys out there and they have years and years of experience in the radio. Either they know and they don't care, or they literally don't know. And you know, how many years have they been in the hobby, and this stuff has just slipped by them because it just, for whatever reason, just was never really talked about, I guess. I don't know. And I'm not saying that I'm some, like before, or anything. I'm not anybody special or anything. I'm just a regular operator like everybody else. So I don't call myself anything more than what I am. You know, I just like radios, and I like talking on radios and all that stuff. So here's our carrier on AM, and there's our power on AM for the radio. So not too bad here either. It's definitely got a great sound to it, like I said before. Let's go over here and see if we can listen. I don't think we're going to notice much difference, but I'll go to my IMAX or whatever you want to call it. So test 1 2, test 1 2. So test 1 2, test 1 2, check check, test 1 2 1 2. This radio can really be complemented if you run a little bit of echo. I'm not saying you got to go crazy with it, but let's see here. One of these is talkback and one of these is echo, and then kind of both, so I don't remember which one. You can hear some of the locals out there. I'm going to say 10. I don't remember what Grease Monkey said is the proper level. Let's see how that sounds. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. I don't know if the echo's on. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Check check. Hello. 1 2. Maybe it's the other way. That's Grease Monkey right there. Maybe it's like this. Test 1 2 1 2, and I don't even know if I have it on or not. Maybe it's on now. Check. There. Is that on? I think so. Yeah. 1 2 1 2. Check check. Hello. All right. These guys are talking, but test 1 2 1 2 3. A little bit of echo in there, not a ton or anything, but just a little bit of something to kind of complement the modulation. Just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can even hear that or not, but anyhow, it definitely does enhance the audio just a little bit. Let's see if he's on that George. Hey, Grease Monkey.
Yeah, come on.
Are you still on that George?
Yes, sir. George with the amplifier on.
Roger that. I'm on the IMAX right now, but man, you're sounding good.
10-4. Yeah, I like the layout of the radio, man. I really do.
10-4. Yeah, it's a cool one, man. You'd like that Washington too, because it does just a little bit more on the stuff you like with the echo and stuff.
Yeah, that one I would be interested in, I think.
Yep. All right, I'll be back.
10-4.
Yeah, he's got to try one of these Washingtons because he likes this. He likes this setup. He likes the George, and I knew he would. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for yours. We can quickly check the receiver, and then I'll get yours boxed and ready to ship. Obviously, I'll put the top on it, and I'll put your mic adapter plug that you got with it in the compartment where your factory mic and everything is. Alright, here's the Washington on the antenna. This is the Solarcon Max 2000 optimizer. I'm going to name this band for you. There's the CB band. You can change it if you want, but it kind of makes sense to leave it.
Nice full fresh cup of coffee, ready to go. Man, oh man.
Yeah, this is that Washington. I got the echo on. I think kind of how you set them on your radios. One of them's at 10 and the other is at 20.
Yeah, that one's a little light on the echo, but yeah, man, it sounds good. Nice, crystal clear.
Yeah, it's just the mic that comes with it, but in some cases they're good enough, you know, for just talking.
Other than on this radio right here on this George, I haven't used a doggone modulated mic. I've just used the mics that come with the radio.
Yeah, a lot of guys like the mics that come with the radio. I'm kind of partial to that one that you're using, but everybody has their favorite, you know.
It's all subjective. I like these mics. I think they're ergonomical. I like the buttons. I like the way the buttons push on them. Man, I didn't realize how heavy they were compared to one of those stock mics. Oh man, they go Merry Christmas.
Yeah, see, on that radio you would need the 452, the KPO 452. Then you could add a little echo to it.
Right.
One thing I noticed with these is you can kind of crank up the talkback on them and they don't really squeal.
That's kind of the same way with the QT60s. That's why I like, one of the reasons I like those so much.
Yep. I dig all of them, man. They're all cool in their own way. So hopefully you enjoy it.
Of all the colors you can pick, I got it orange.
That's what,
the other ones.
yeah, I like the orange too. The orange or the green. Sometimes I dig the green. It's either orange or green though. But was it on green when you got it, or was it orange?
It was
Yeah.
I rocked the light blue for a little while, and then the light blue matches the monitor sensor. And then I was like, man, I like the orange display. I guess I'm old school.
Yeah, it's kind of like President, you know, some of their older models like the HR 2510 and the Lincoln, they had that orange display, so it kind of like, that's why I like it, I think. All right, man, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to get this one ready to go for the guy. This is his radio I'm talking on, so it's heading down to Georgia. Have a good one.
10-4, sounding good. Hey, superstar.
So there you have it. We can go up here to sideband and
You got good conditions down here at Corpus Christi, just let you know. 338 Mobile in a little pickup truck.
and this antenna, now keep in mind this antenna is only 5 or so feet off the ground. I have a dipole which is here. This is a rotary horizontal dipole, and this one's the same. It's only like 5 feet off the ground. So sometimes having the ability, let me shut this stuff off. Sometimes having the ability to go to the flat side still is worthwhile. Let's see if we can get somebody. CQ 269 Michigan trying.
Roger, 286 Likewise, 7 great here in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Now keep in mind, 5 feet off the ground. We're kind of like a mobile or something. CQ 269 Michigan trying. Don't really expect much, although I made it. I made it with this antenna. If you go to my other channel, you can see it. I got some videos on it. I made it with this antenna to Austria and another country in Europe on 10 meters. So it's not really set up for that band, but it still worked halfway decent. So that was pretty cool. But this is kind of a really long one, but we'll get this off to you tomorrow, James. Like I said, hope you enjoy it. One thing I learned about these, because I generally don't ever look at the manual, if you have one of these, the light here is telling you that it's an RX only. If you change that, it's in the manual. So I really recommend anybody that gets one of these, you know, again, don't let the radio scare you. It's not real complicated, but you know, I just learned something with it because I was figuring out, okay, how do I set the echo and the talkback on together? And sure enough, it's in the manual here. So if we find where that was really quick, somewhere here, there's a spot here for that clarifier. Yeah, right here, see page 10 for more information. So yeah, right here, it's default green, and that's RX only. If you want it to be in TX mode, it's red, and then RX and TX together, it's orange. So right now, if we move this, we would shift 5 kilohertz, I think. I'm not exactly sure how far it goes. I could test it, but it'd be nice if it actually moved here when you did it. That's another thing. If I would have been behind the design of this radio, I would have pushed for, if you want this to do that, it should move. And the same thing on RX. I feel like it could move to tell. Oh, it does move on RX. Okay, so it does move on RX. Well, why the heck doesn't it move on TX? To me, that just makes sense. If you're gonna give me the option, here we go. On both of them, it moves. So, but you don't get very far. You get about 1K each way. So, you're better off running the span option and just keeping it in. I mean, you could keep it like this. You could keep it like this, where it's in RX and TX together, and just run the span option. Especially if you're going to use this as an amateur radio, that's how I would use it, because then even if you have your span and say you get lazy, you could still go like this and dial somebody in. Because some guys are obviously running, but it'd be nice if you had another digit for that. So there's some things that maybe if I was behind the design of this, I would have done different is all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I don't like the radio. It's just, you know, if I want to down to the nitty gritty, there's things that I would have done a little bit different. That's all. Me as an operator, that's just the way I like things to work. So 73.